What do you know about Buddhism? The mind itself has a faculty. The mind itself has a quality which helps us to understand the mind, which is known as mindfulness. Now, who knows about you better than you? Because otherwise, if I ask you to be mindful throughout 24/7, it won't happen. There should be some trigger points. This is the technique. There is a whole discourse done by Gautam Buddha, which is known as Satipatthana Sutra. In reaction, you are subjected to your emotions. You are controlled by your emotions. But in response, yourself and your emotions are separated. The reactions are the ones which have made a lot of mistakes in our life. Of course, same here. Good morning, everyone. So, how are you feeling today? How do you find Sri Lanka? Is this the first time for all of you? So I'm really happy to welcome you, especially to give you the experience of the spiritual aspect of Sri Lanka. You might have seen the culture, have you? And the wilderness. Nalaka told me that you saw the tigers also. Leopards, yes, at Yala. So you have seen almost everything, and the final and the most important part is which make the spirit of Sri Lankan people is the Buddhist philosophy. Because different nations are established on different principles, and they are governed by different fundamentals. And I know that most of the first world countries like United States, the rule of law is the most important vital aspect of the society, and the economy is the other vital aspect. You have a lot of money, the government, not you maybe, the government might have a lot of money. But in Asian world, especially in Sri Lanka, the people, as the civilization is centered around a philosophy. Mainly the philosophy of karma. If you do something good, you will receive something good. If you do something bad, you will receive something bad. That philosophy is deeply inculcated in the Sri Lankan minds. So we don't need the police, we don't need the courthouses, we don't need any authority, a political authority for us to dictate what to be done and what not to be done. The majority is acting according to the legal principles because of a philosophy. So that is why I told you that you are here to experience the spirit of it. So then I would like to put forward a question. What do you know about Buddhism so far? What do you know about Buddhism? Any volunteer to answer that question? What do you know about the Buddhism, Buddhist philosophy? Yes.
The body, the mind should control the body.
Mind control. This is, everything is under control of the mind. Is that what you are going to express? Yes. What else that you know about Buddhism? It's a journey. It's a journey of thinking. Yes. Very nice. What else?
Not to be materialist, because we can go out everything.
Wonderful. Actually, all of your understandings are really good, and it actually describes. I will tell you the fundamental of it. right? Thank you very much. This the chief incumbent of this beautiful place is Dhamma Oshada Thero. So we are very much thankful for his welcome and all the hospitality he is providing us today. Right? So we were talking about what is Buddhism. Well, there are religions and spirituality. Two aspects, religiosity and spirituality. When we talk about religiosity or a religion, it is based on a dogma. That means a higher authority has dictated something and people are following that. But spirituality is always, as you said, it's a study. It's an investigation. On what? As you said, about the mind. An investigation, a throughout investigation about the mind. So Buddhist philosophy and Buddhist practices are all concentrated on that one point, to understand the mind through different techniques. Right? Now then the question arises, right? This question should come from you, because now we are doing a spiritual exercise, not a dogma. When I say that Buddhism is something, the philosophy is based on understanding the mind, the next question should come from the forum is, why should we understand the mind? Why should we understand our mind? What is the reason for that?
Because the mind is controlling you.
Yes.
And what happens then? The next question, okay, you are saying the mind is controlling everything. Now what will happen if you do not know anything about the mind and let the mind control? What will happen? Why? Why do you say it's not good? Why? Why are you shaking your head? Why? That is the question. That is spirituality. You always question. Whatever I say here, or whatever your friends say, whatever Buddha say, whatever the messenger say, if you are a spiritual seeker, you have to question why. You are saying the mind controls everything. Therefore, you have to understand the mind. Why can't we just let the mind do everything without understanding it?
Practice and then learn the wisdom.
Correct. I will give you an example to understand the importance of understanding the mind. Right? Now you have mobile phones with you. I believe almost all of them are smartphones. But you and me both were not born in an era where the smartphones were there. We had most simplest analog, was that, what do you call these, we don't know I can't remember the name for that also, that you have to dial things. That was the era that we were born in. You were not familiar about smartphones. Can you recall the very first day that you received a smartphone? The very first day that you received a smartphone to use. How was that experience? Interesting. Why? It was very difficult for us. I can remember the very first day, not about smartphones, when I started using a desktop computer to deal with the mouse, the cursor. Can you remember those days? What was the problem there at that point? When you receive a cutting edge technology and someone asks you to deal with it, what is the problem there? Because if you do not know what the heck it is very difficult to use. And without knowing, if you use that technology, what can happen? The first thing, you can destroy the machine. You will destroy the machine. And also, you will not be able to get the best out of it. Now I will frankly tell you, I use Microsoft Excel. Even now I use Microsoft Excel. You are familiar with that, Excel, right? But there are a lot of other things that you can done from Microsoft Excel. But I simply use it to create a table. That's all I know about it. But there are a lot of other algorithms, there are a lot of other functions which you can do using Excel. But I don't know. I cannot take the maximum out of Microsoft. Why? I do not know. That's the second thing. First one, you will destroy the machine. Second one, you can't take the best out of it. The third one, you will harm the people around you. You are using some, let's say, a mixer, a grinder, without knowing how to use it. And you won't close the lid properly. There is a friend next to you. Everything will pop out. And it will hurt your friend. Three things can happen if you use anything without knowing. Firstly, you will harm the machine, you will harm people, including yourself, and also you won't be able to get the best out of it. Now that answers the question. Why do we have to understand the mind? Because this mind, human mind, is the most advanced technology that we are dealing with right now. There is no invention so far has gone beyond the capacity of the human mind. Can you tell me one invention which can go beyond the capacity of human mind? Nothing. Even the Musk sends spacecrafts, right? All those creations are made by what? Human mind. People talk about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is invented and was invented by what? A human mind. So every invention supersedes by the human mind. So that is the most advanced technology one can deal with forever. So we are talking not about a simple machine, a smartphone. We are talking about a very advanced machine, but we are using it without knowing what it is.
So we have to know.
That's the importance. So this was identified by Gautam Buddha some 1,000 years ago. He understood that we are dealing this world with a very sophisticated instrument and we do not know how to use it, we don't know the insight of it. Therefore, what we have done? We have damaged the mind. That is why depression is very common, anxiety is very common, other psychiatric disorders, personality disorders are very common. Because we are using this for 60, 70 years without knowing it. So we have done ample of damage to this instrument. And secondly, we cannot take the best out of it. We cannot use our mind to the optimum. You do not know the mind, the range the mind can go. But we are not using it. Thirdly, we are hurting ourselves. And we are hurting the people around us, haven't we? Simply because we have not understood the mechanism of the mind. So it's very simple. The Buddhist philosophy says there is a way to understand it. So you follow the way, follow the path and get to know about it. As much as you know about your mind, the suffering in your life will get decreased. As much as you get to know about the chemistry of your own mind, you can deal with this world very pleasantly, very joyously. Very simple, right? At least it sounds simple. Can you understand what we are doing right now? So this session is all about that. And the Buddhist philosophy, the essence of Buddhism is that. This is the foundation of the Sri Lankan civilization. Without knowing or with the knowledge, voluntarily or involuntarily, almost all of the Sri Lankans are in a process of understanding their own mind. Understanding the mind can be done with anything, but there is one most key thing which Buddha discovered, which you need to do, otherwise it will not happen. The mind itself has a faculty. The mind itself has a faculty. The mind itself has a quality which helps us to understand the mind, which is known as mindfulness. In the Buddhist language, we call it sati. Sati. In English language, you know this very common term, mindfulness. To be mindful. What do you mean by that? We deal with the world with 6 senses through our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, the skin and the mind. And all those senses are always directed outward. We are very much concerned about what the other person is wearing right now, not about what we are wearing. We are very much concerned about what other person is doing, the person next door is doing than what we are doing. What is the reason? All our senses are portrayed outward. Mindfulness invites you to direct those senses towards you. Observing yourself. Observing yourself. That is what mindfulness do. Observe what you do at this moment. Right? And this faculty of mindfulness, which is a quality of our mind, it's kind of a muscle. It's kind of a muscle. Now, our body has different muscles, the biceps, triceps, abdominal muscles, right? Are you going to a gym? Are you working out regularly back home? If we want to keep our body physically fit, we have to work out our body and grow our muscles. Now, if you are an athlete, you have to specifically develop certain muscles. If you are a 100-meter runner, you have to develop your thigh muscles. If you are a javelin thrower, you have to develop your triceps and biceps. For a particular activity, there is a particular muscle which you have to develop. Alright? So, the activity is understanding the mind. For that particular activity, the muscle which you have to develop is the mindfulness. Mind also has muscles, different muscles. If you improve a certain muscle, you can work with that. Now, let's say loving kindness is one particular muscle. Yes. If you think that you are so much of with hatred, envy, that means your muscle of loving kindness is weak and the muscle of hatred is strong. So, you have to balance it out. Right? So, similarly, if you do not know and if you want to understand the mind, you have to develop the muscle of mindfulness. Do you understand? So, if you are mindful in your day-to-day life, then gradually this muscle of mindfulness will grow. And automatically that mindfulness will help you to understand the mind. It is not actually you can read books and listen to discourses and get knowledge. But knowledge and wisdom are two different things. You can gain knowledge through scriptures and listening to someone, but wisdom comes from within. But it is a natural thing, it's an automatical thing which will only happen if your mindfulness is sharp. If your mindfulness is sharp, the wisdom will pour into you. It will pour into you. You don't need to read scripts. You don't need to listen to anyone. Because this is something which is inside you. There is no outside knowledge. This is you that you are studying. Now, who knows about you better than you? Who knows you better than yourself? Nobody, right? I can fake myself here, saying that I am a very good person, I am a very good monk, and I can fake a lot, right? People do fake a lot. But don't I know that I am faking? Don't I know that I am genuine, my genuinity, my ingenuinity, both are within my knowledge. So this is not something which you should go through books and study. If you are mindful, you know everything. It's very simple. And it is hard because it is very simple. People don't believe it. When the things are very simple, people tend to think it can't be the ultimatum. Because it's very simple. As like now, I can see a couple of people are wearing glasses, right? Now, let's say that you have left your glasses on your forehead and you are searching for your glasses everywhere, scolding everyone. Where did I keep it? Where did you take it? Why did you hide it? It's on top of your head. It's very simple. The access is very simple. Therefore, you do not know where it is and where to find it. There is a nice story in Vedic culture. This is a Vedic story, right? According to Hinduism, the creation was done by an entity called Brahman, right? In Christianity, the creation was done by the Almighty, the God. In Hinduism, the Almighty is Brahman, right? So Brahman created the universe and he had a manual. The manual is wisdom, right? The wisdom, that particular manual encloses every chemistry of his creation. If somebody reaches this manual, he will become Brahman and he can create an alternative universe, right? This is the story. So Brahman wanted to hide this book of wisdom. He wanted to hide wisdom from people. Because if some human being get the access to this book of wisdom, he will go beyond the capacity of Brahman and create an alternative universe that will undermine the power of Brahman, right? So Brahman thought, where should I hide this? His first thought was Mariana Trench in the sea. That is the most deepest point in the sea. He thought, okay, I am going to hide it on the bottom of that trench. Then he looked into the future. He saw, no, people are creating submarines and they will somehow reach to the bottommost part of the sea and they will uncover the wisdom. So that is not the best place to hide. Then he thought, I am going to hide it in the moon. Then he saw, no, Neil Armstrong is going to come one day in 1960s, late 60s. So he will find the book of wisdom. That is not the place. Then he thought, I am going to find it at the very corner of the universe. No, people are going to time travel and they are going to go faster than the speed of light. They will go wherever I put and they will find the book of wisdom. So now Brahman was in a dilemma where to hide this. Then he figured out there is one place that people will never go. They will go within. They will always go outside. So he hid wisdom inside us. That's a nice story which tells everything about spirituality. Do you understand? Now we have gone through, now for these last few minutes, we have gone through a search. My first question was, what do you know about Buddhism? Then you said it's based on the mind. Then my next question was, why do we need to know about the mind? You said because we deal everything with the mind. Then my third question was, what happens if we deal something using the mind without knowing about it? Then I gave you the example of the technological device. If you use it without knowledge, what will happen? Can we see? There is no dogma here. This is an investigation. So if you are going to follow the spiritual path from here onward or not is up to you, because this is your own investigation. You understand? Right. So, what are the practices? Now, there are different practices. Simply in every day-to-day exercise, right, there are moments which triggers your mind. There are certain incidents which will trigger your mind. When the mind is triggered, the mind will depict a different quality, which we identify them as what? Emotions. When we meet a good friend of which we are very familiar friend, that particular incident can create an emotion like joy, bliss, happiness. If we meet a person which we do not want to meet, an enemy, it can trigger an emotion like anger, envy. If we come across an incident which we see someone receiving something better than you, it can trigger an emotion like jealousy. If you see someone who is suffocating on side of the road, it can create an emotion like, expression like compassion, loving kindness. So all of your emotions are expressions of mind, which you will experience based on an incident. There should be a trigger. The trigger comes first, then the expression comes. We label the expression as an emotion. Anger, envy, loving kindness, compassion. So during the day, your emotions will fluctuate. For a moment you will be blissful, very next moment you will be joyful, on the third moment you will be angry. Likewise, throughout the day you will see it's like a wave. The emotions are fluctuating. Once an emotion expressed, that is a vital key point which we can observe, start observation. Because otherwise, if I ask you to be mindful throughout 24/7, it won't happen. There should be some trigger points. This is the technique. You identify trigger points in the mind. Most of the trigger points are emotions. And the most powerful trigger is the best place to start. The most powerful triggers are anger, lust. Because when we are happy, we don't think of being mindful. We just simply want to experience the happiness. But when we are angry, when we are in uncomfortable emotions, I invite you, look at yourself. Check what triggers that. What triggers me to become angry? What triggers me to be jealous? Right? That is the very best moment to be mindful. So, let's take one particular emotion, the emotion of anger. When you observe in a particular point when you are angry, you will see that you are in a mental frame, that you had a predetermined way of something should happen. Like now, when you made the payment or made the application to join the Sri Lankan tour, I am pretty much sure you might have certain expectations. Right? Those expectations are the frames that I am talking about. You might have thought, now since the itinerary says you will be accommodated in 5-star hotels, your expectation is every location the hotel should be 5-star. But unfortunately, Nalaka will take you to a 3-star or a very shitty place to accommodate you tomorrow. No, tomorrow is, yet you didn't. Yet you didn't, but tomorrow. What will happen to you?
Yes.
Anger will come, right? It's okay to be angry because they have breached that's a different thing. But I'm talking about your well-being, right? You can scold him, that's a different part, right? But if you are concerned about your well-being, now you are angry. Why are you angry? Is it because Nalaka did not provide you 5-star accommodation, or is it because you had an expectation to be accommodated in a 5-star place? The reality did not match with your expectation. If you are mindful, you will realize that. Every moment when you are angry, it is because the reality does not match with your expectation. We call those expectations as mental frames. We are inundated with millions of mental frames. We identify ourselves now. He told you about my name. I am Sunanda. That is one of my frame. Sunanda. If you address me from a name different than that, I will not respond because that is not within my frame. If you put a certain adjective which will defame me in front of my name, I will go mad because that was not my expectation. That is not my frame. We have different millions of frames like that. You believe that you are an American, you believe that you are a man, you are a woman, you are 60 or 50, 20, 30 years old. My name is this, my address is this, my mother's name is this, my religion is this, my belief system is this, my ethics are this, my profession is this. How many mental frames that you have? Now, unfortunately, if you have millions of mental frames as such, there are millions of events which can trigger you. There are millions of opportunities that you can be triggered. Your emotions can be triggered and your life can be unpleasant. But if you are mindful, you will recognize, okay, I am angry because I thought it should happen like this. Once you recognize, there is one magic in our human mind. Only when you observe, the mental frame starts to melt. The expectations, the hardened, fastened expectations will start to melt down. Then you will feel the easiness. Okay, let go. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's a 3-star hotel or a 5-star hotel. You will simply embrace what you will have. For the moment you accept, then go and soothe it. Because there's no point of become angry because of some act done by somebody else. Because when you're angry, you're not poisoning them, you're poisoning yourself. If you want to poison them, go and sue them. You understand? Unless you are mindful, you cannot recognize those mental frames. Throughout your day, you will just, hit yourself everywhere. It's like a person who are blindfolded and I let him loose inside this hall, closing all these windows and doors. What will happen? He will knock his head every column, every window, every door. Why? He is blindfolded. So Buddhism invites you to take off the folds. Be mindful, then you are not blind. You will see all these mental frames when it is triggered. So the starting point is the triggering moments in your life. The triggering moments in your life, you go inside and see what is the mental frame which I have at this moment and let go of it for that moment. Let go of it for that moment, that's enough, not forever. If someone called you, let's say your name is James, if someone called you stupid James, let go of your name for that moment. I am not James. You can use any adjective since you are not James. I hope there are no James here. Do you understand? Now, Then again, I have to be frank with you. Even though I say this, as you said, it won't be easy for a beginner. Then what we should do? There is a whole discourse done by Gautam Buddha, which is known as Satipatthana Sutra. The discourse of Satipatthana. Sati means the mindfulness, right? As I told you, it is the discourse on mindfulness. It has established hundreds of different ways of practices which you can improve mindfulness. If you get a time, search for this term Satipatthana. There are English translations also, which has established different practices which is introduced by Gautam Buddha, the Buddhist mindfulness techniques. Right? I will introduce you one, because we don't have much time. I will introduce you one and we will do it for few minutes here. Right? So here, which I have, as you know that I started saying that Buddhism is not a dogma. Since Gautam Buddha has said some certain techniques, I can always improvise because I am also a spiritual seeker. Right? So I have improvised Buddha's technique and introducing this to you. Here what I propose is, if you are interested in strengthening the muscle of mindfulness, you have to at least dedicate 1 hour of your day for a spiritual practice. 60 minutes. You better dedicate at least 60 minutes in your day to invest on yourself, on spirituality. And my proposal is to do it as the very first thing in the morning, right after you wake up. Let's say, because what? You will, otherwise you do not do as the very first thing, you will not do it. Right? Because early morning, when you wake up after a good night's sleep, is the best time to do a spiritual practice. Because in Hindu, Vedic culture, and even in Buddhism, it is recognized, I don't know, don't panic, 4 o'clock in the morning is the best time to do meditation. It is known as Brahma Murti, that your mind is so clear, there's a lot of clarity in the mind and it's very easy to do a spiritual practice. Right? So I won't ask you to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. At what time, at whatever time you wake up, let's say you're waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 to 8 is the best time. The first hour, right after you wake up. You divide that 60 minutes into 3 parts, 20, 20, 20. The first 20 minutes, this is the part which I have improvised. You do some physical exercise to warm up. 20 minutes, a simple exercise. Right? Don't break your neck, don't break your leg, right? Like at least a walk. But it's always better if you can do different exercise types within that 20 minutes rather than doing a monotonous one. But if you are not used to it, at least start with walking for 20 minutes, jogging for 20 minutes. Then let yourself warm up for 20 minutes. It's better if you can sweat right after the exercise. If you are sweaty, that is best. With that warm up, you sit somewhere comfortably and do this meditation. It's like this. You have to do nothing. You simply sit. You simply sit and gently close your eyes and do nothing. When you sit comfortably and do nothing with gently closed eyes, for few seconds your mind will show you blank. It's totally blank for few seconds. Nothing will come to your head. But after 5-6 seconds, the thoughts will start to pour out. As like a waterfall falling down, the thoughts will fall off in front of you. And you become an observer, create a small gap between yourself and your thoughts and observe the thoughts for 20 minutes. Observe the thoughts. What is it doing now? Okay, I first thought about your house. The second thought about the job. Third one, okay, what happened yesterday? Likewise, different experiences, past experiences, future experiences, and the present experience. You will occasionally you will come to the present moment and you will hear a bird call, sound of the air conditioner, sound of your little ones screaming, or the husband snoring, the wife snoring, right? Different experiences. Once you are closed eyes, you simply observe for 20 minutes. Keep an alarm for 20 minutes, then you don't have to worry about the time. If you are not comfortable doing meditation for 20 minutes, at least do for 5 minutes and gradually increase the time. So the next 20 minutes you do the meditation, and the final 20 minutes journaling. Very important. During the session of your meditation, the thoughts which came across to your mind, you have to write it down as much as you remember. Not everything. There's no one to give marks for that, right? This is not an exam. Simply write down whatever you recall. You heard a bird call, you heard a snoring sound, someone coughed, a dog barked. I remembered my family, I remembered my childhood. Write down. Keep it with you. A diary. Put the date, write down the thoughts. If someone can do this, add this spiritual exercise to one's day-to-day life, he will realize the mindfulness is growing gradually. For such a person, when in the rest of the day, when the emotion triggers you, even without any effort, naturally you will go in towards your mind. Naturally it will happen because you have strengthened the muscle. Now you are a good spiritual sport person. Or you have only have to dedicate a certain amount of time during the day. That effort will take care of the rest of the day. You will see gradually, naturally, you have become more inward. And the mindfulness will improve to a certain level where you will achieve so much of clarity, your mind will become like customs. You know, when you put a parcel through customs, it can screen everything what is inside, whether you are trafficking weapons or everything, it can scan. Every word, every action, every thought will go through that customs of mindfulness, will be scanned, and it will come out. Then what will happen? The reactions in your life will go down, the responses will go up. You will respond to the life rather than simply reacting to the life. Two different things. Without mindfulness, you simply react to things. Awareness without mindfulness. With mindfulness, you will respond. That's very scary. When somebody responds, that means he is fully aware of what he is doing. All the faculties in his life is under his control. Do you understand? What happened? What helped you to do that? Introducing a small spiritual practice in one's life. Do you understand? When you are mindful, the responses will come up, the reactions will slow down. The reactions are the ones which have made a lot of mistakes in our life. Of course, same here. Any moment which I have reacted, I have done stupid things.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How can Buddhism explain behaviors and actions of hateful, disgusting human beings?
Very good question.
hateful and disgustful actions of others. The Buddhism, the fundamental understanding by being mindfulness is that the ultimate understanding, nothing is in our control. Just keep away about others. Even our mental faculties, our physical faculties are not in our control. Everything is happening on the basis of cause and effect. Cause and effect. Right? When you are spiritually developing yourself, you will be less concerned about the actions of others because you know it is beyond our control. There is no way we can adjust the outside world 100%. So disgusting actions, disgusting reactions of other people, it is beyond our control. But there is a way that we can safeguard our mental peace, our mental relaxation. Now, why are we really worried about disgustful actions of others? Because it triggers us, right? It makes us angry, it makes us unhappy, it makes us sad. Now, that is something which is in our control. Our emotions are in our control. If we are sad, we are responsible for that. If we are angry, we are responsible for that. Now, you investigate. Somebody does something disgustful and I am angry. Why am I angry? Because I thought he should not do disgustful things to me. What stops him from doing that? This is a democratic world. Everyone has right to do whatever he does. Maybe it's wrong. But if I had a mental frame, an expectation that people should always do good things to me, people should always smile at me, not laugh at me, people should be always kind at me, treat well to me, acknowledge me, those are expectations of mine, which they are not aware of it. What you have to do, observe those expectations within you. Once you observe that you have a lot of expectations from outside, it will start to melt. Then you will see gradually whatever they do, it will not trigger yourself. Do you understand? So it is, you cannot do much about what other people do, but you can do a lot about how you deal with it. You know, there's a nice story. Gautam Buddha, before he became a monk, before his ordination, he had a child called Rahula. He was very young, 7 years old. And once he ordained, Buddha was enlightened, he ordained his young child also. Alright? So, there were certain issues. Rahula was also expecting acknowledgement because he's a small one, no? He's a child. He was always expecting acknowledgement, right? Love, compassion towards him. He's an innocent child. But when you are in a public domain, not in the palace now he is in a temple, you won't receive pleasantries all the time. You won't receive acknowledgement all the time. So Rahula was pretty much upset. So once he went to his father, Gautam Buddha, and he told his thing. I'm very much upset. Nobody is acknowledging me. There is no love towards me. No one is caring about me like in the palace. So the Gautam Buddha gave him an advice. Okay, from tomorrow onwards, you go to under the Bodhi tree. Can you see in Sri Lanka, around this Bodhi tree, there is an area which people can meditate and do worshipping. It's always sand is placed on the ground. Sand. Buddha asked him to take a handful of sand and throw it into the air and do this. Recite this. You say that I should receive non-acknowledgement, I should receive advices, I should receive scoldings, I should receive unpleasant events throughout my day as much as the sand particles in this handful of sand. That means I should receive number of insults throughout the day. What Gautam Buddha did there? It was a reverse engineering mechanism of mind. What Rahula was always expecting are pleasantries, acknowledgements. Buddha reversed that expectation. Now expect non-acknowledgements. Now expect bad things to happen in your life. Now it's okay. Can you see? If you know the mechanism of the mind, you can do magic with it. Actually, it's a very good question, dealing with other people. I would like to have more questions from you. Yeah.
We go out of this part of spiritual, the physic is action and reaction. We can't deny that law, right? And that's sure.
The rule is not action is there. The rule is not always reaction. That's why I told you there is an alternative called response. Right? In reaction, you are subjected to your emotions. You are controlled by your emotions. But in response, yourself and your emotions are separated. You are separated from your emotions. It's like this. Now in a birth, when you are in a washroom, just imagine a situation where the entire floor is wet. You take some soap bubbles and drop it on the floor. What will happen? The soap will drive away the water molecules and create a circle. It can drive away water molecules. Similarly, a person without mindfulness, himself and his mind is totally entangled. Right? So wherever his mind takes, he goes. Wherever he goes, the mind goes. But you can introduce a little bit of detergent. Mindfulness is a detergent into this concoction, into this combination. Once mindfulness is introduced to this combination, yourself will get detached from your mind, from your emotions. Now, your emotions will go somewhere, but you can stay wherever you are. And you can go anywhere, leaving your emotions aside. That's why action is there, but reaction and response is an alternative. It is something which is in our control. That is why there are spirituality. That is why spiritual path is there. Right? So all these psychiatric problems, personality disorders, which doctors prescribe you drugs, can be cured by practicing spirituality. Because all those things are, medication can be self-created, self-generated by our brain. Cleansing. Any more questions? So I think we should do like about 5-10 minutes, a certain we better do that mindfulness meditation which I told you to, which I propose you to. I'm not going to tell anyone. Propose you to introduce to your life. It's like this, as I told you. Now let's say now you have worked out for 20 minutes, now you are totally warmed up. Now sit comfortably. Sit, take and let yourself grounded fully, right? And keep your hands any place which you feel comfortable, right? But when you meditate, now make sure that your spine is straight a little bit. Now, so a small tilt won't be a problem, but mostly your chin. You should arrange your chin parallel to the ground, facing forward. Why? Because there is a tendency that generally most of the people tend to sleep during meditation. Once you feel sleepy, if you start the meditation like this, you will not notice that you are sleeping, you will slowly go into deep sleep. But if you leave your chin like this, if you are falling asleep, it will go like this. Then you can recognize that you are sleepy. So that is why it is advised to keep your face forward and rest your chin parallel to the floor, right? And when you close your eyes, it has to be gentle, not slowly, it has to be gentle, right? And before closing eyes, there is something which is very important. You observe your surrounding. Check for your safety. Who is next to you? What is next to you? Look around. Okay, there's a wall here. There's a wall here. Okay, behind a wall, in front, open. People are in front of me. So I am safe. I am safe to close my eyes. Right? You observe the surrounding. No rush. Check whether your body is totally fine. Check. Adjust it. Right? Then gently close your eyes and do nothing. You will start to see in few seconds the thoughts are coming to your mind like a waterfall, one after the other. You simply become an observer. You are not trying to stop them. You observe. The story of the mind. It's like a movie. It has colors, it has sounds, it has characters, it has actions. You simply observe. Simply observe like you're watching a movie. Gently open your eyes. Gently open your eyes. Now here comes the next event, where the point you have to journal things. You try to recall what happened during the session. Take a notebook, write down descriptive as much as possible. This mental exercise, as I told you, will help you to strengthen mindfulness and help you out to work it out throughout the day, limiting your reactions and improving your responses. Right? So I hope we went through a wonderful spiritual journey for nearly 1 hour and 15 minutes. Do you have any further questions, any clarifications? For one last time. Yes.
Wonderful, because all through my life, this day, I remember learning Lent. Always I wondered, okay, what like I learned something new. I'm very grateful.
I'm really thankful for your lovely appreciation, and there are now, you have to understand now, this is only one exercise. Now for some people, you may find it difficult to concentrate on the mind, right? Especially now if someone is taking medication, it will be difficult to do concentration meditation on mind. Focus, awareness meditation on mind. For them, there are different other techniques, where this one technique which I propose is that you are not worried about what comes to the mind, you just start with one posture and you do not change the posture for some time. For 20 minutes, you are not changing this posture. That's the only thing. After few minutes, your mind will say, okay, it's better to move your hand a little bit forward, but you're not doing it. Your mind will say, okay, scratch your head, it's itchy, you're not doing it. It's another thing. There are a lot of other alternative methods. Since we have a very limited time, I would like to make this as a very comprehensive session, as a basic introduction for you to get into spirituality. It's a very vast knowledge, very ancient knowledge. Now it's freely accessible on the internet, and I have now, since I record these things also, I do upload certain discourses also on the internet. I can share my links with Nalaka. If you are interested, you can take it from him and start somewhere. I hope this will be the starting point for most of you. Invest on yourself. Now it's enough for doing things for others. Invest on yourself. You understand? And you then afterward you can introduce to your friends and your families and people around you. Things will change. Because there is no dogma, there is nobody to follow, right? You're in power. Empowering is better than controlled by a dogma. So thank you very much for visiting Sri Lanka, and I believe that you saw the beauty of culture and the wilderness, and finally the beauty of the spirituality of this beautiful island nation. And I would like to invite you to come again, visit Sri Lanka again. If you are lucky, we can meet again. And thank you very much for your participation. May the Triple Gem bless you. Right?